2 of the Restorative Art Lab. This is where the students who are later in the program take everything they've learned during the course of restorative art and put it to work in a live application in different ways. Yesterday, they took a plastic molded skull and it had to build up with wax the mouth and the nose and then the eyes. This morning they finished the ears. Second today they smashed these let me grab one. They had skulls. These are made of plaster of Paris, and they smashed them and then had to restore them. And they had to use, they worked in teams on this project. They had to use at least a calvarium clamp, which holds 2 halves of a piece of bone of the skull together. Go check out my 2 minutes on the turn calvarium clamp. They had to use wire, and they had to use zip ties. So, and then the test at the end is if it rattles. So this is an A project because it did not rattle. So that was about 2 hours worth of the lab, and they worked in pairs. So hey everybody, welcome, welcome. So now we are on to the third and last phase of what they are going to do. This is where they got a damaged face that is not bone damage, it's tissue damage. So they really do a round kind of full circle of working on bone, working on tissue, building up. The first project was all about the canon of beauty, really, where you have symmetry and you know, this and this is so far apart in your eye, the middle of your eye is at the edge of your mouth, and everything has to be kind of laid out specifically. It's not true to most humans. So these today are real life scenarios. So I'm going to show you what we're doing in here, and then I'll kind of show you all the different ways that they are working to restore them. There's 5 different heads that they randomly drew, did a Plinko style, dropped a thing, went down a board, and whatever one that falls on the chute on at the bottom, they get that head with that damage. And it just got really quiet in here. Like all of a sudden it was like, shh. They all have just started working on these. So I'm going to show you what they have going. So this is a knife wound. This is cancer, and he is filling with wax the trauma and starting to work. This is a youth that has been mauled by a dog. Let's see. This one again is the youth. So that one's tricky. It's missing a whole ear that they have to do. And then gunshot. What one were you hoping to get?
I was hoping to get the knife one. Knife, so. Yeah.
Yeah, they all have crazy names,
Yeah.
which is fun.
It's a challenge.
Yeah.
And then what is the, oh, Carzo. Do you have Carzo? Perfect. And then this is the car one. So it's not as much damage. So they're part of their challenge for this one is you have to do facial. Oh, I'm sorry, dear. Facial hair. So Yeah, the hair. So. So it's gonna be a long, slow process. Brenda's passing out snacks because food keeps everyone going. So it is right now 3 o'clock on day 2, and we end about 4:30. And then tomorrow I'll be back at 7:30 a.m. to start back in on these heads. And it will be a long, slow going process for them to do all these. So one of you asked, what happens if you're missing a piece of the skull? And if you saw in these that I was showing you, let me grab one again. They all were missing pieces. So when the students came up and smashed them, the teachers threw away some of the pieces. Yes, PIMS is the Pittsburgh Institute of Mortuary Science. And so every skull was missing a piece. So one of the students got a little overzealous with the smashing and was not able to finish their project. So smashing harder was not a good thing to do. But the projects turned out really well. I think they all surprised themselves how quickly they could get them put together. And they got to use drills, they got to use zip ties, they got to use files to make notches so that they would go together. More zip ties. Yeah, it's encouraged actually, so that you have a tighter closure between the two pieces of skull. So, what questions do you guys have about the Restorative Art Lab? There's definitely some downtime watching this and stuff, but the students ask lots of good questions. A lot of this is so brand new, they've never encountered these. We watch, there's presentations and things during all of this as well that they can learn from, and like one of the lessons was when you're doing restorative work, what things can you or can you not use? We don't use garbage. We don't use newspaper when we're filling a body. We don't use soda cans or anything that could be considered garbage. We don't use toilet paper rolls or paper towel rolls. Those are garbage items. We don't use them on the bodies. We don't use bottles to fill things out. So there's products that you can get to a hardware store that are purchased just for that. And that's a huge lesson to help these students learn the right way to do things. How many do you think will drop out once they have the real deal in front of them? You know, it's when students are here, they're fascinated by this. So I don't know that really many will. I don't know that we had, I'm trying to think back to my class, if we had anybody really drop out because they didn't like seeing some of the stuff we see. You don't see this stuff a ton unless you work in a big city. There's some people who come from areas that they've never seen. They've worked in funeral homes for a while and they never see autopsies. They never see anything but, little people die. And so you don't always encounter this kind of stuff. This is worst case scenario. It's teaching basic skills to give a good baseline to someone so that they have it ingrained in them somewhere when they do go out and get jobs. But they may never have to use some of these skills depending where they work. And if they don't really have calls ever that are for these kind of things. Oh, Josie, that's cool. Yeah, PIMS is great. So this has been a fun class to get to see. Do you ask for a picture or two of the person in life to help with restoration of face? Of course, we want more pictures, the better. Can you use recycled material in filling the cavity? Like what kind of material? Like one example they gave that was okay was like the filling of the pillow from the casket. often they're overfilled, so you take some of that material out. You could use that and repurpose it. It's just you don't take something out of the garbage to use, or something you would typically throw away in the garbage. We also have had a lot of real life scenario photos be shared from embalming work, and very damaged deceased photos that I cannot share. They're not for the public. No one can take pictures and share from inside the class. So that has been nice to be able to show, like, hey, this is damage that was actually done. This is what they look like after. And they were recognizable by the family. They were able to see them one last time if they wanted to. It can be done. One of the big things that they tell the students is, anybody can call themselves an expert. So if someone says they're an expert in restoration, or they're an expert in embalming, or they're an expert in anything, anybody can call themselves an expert. Anybody in this room can be trained and can do what any of those people can do. So a lot of encouragement, a lot of, putting the confidence in them that this is your first time doing this. After this, those skills will be in you, and it's just practice and getting to, that comfort level. They are no better just because they call themselves an expert. So some of that has been a huge part of the discussion, for sure, over the last few days, and getting to see those real life applications with the photos and some of that real life damage. When you open that body bag, that what the heck is going on kind of moment. So a lot of different discussions with the students, but they've been learning all this stuff, all these terms, and so to get to apply it has been, I think, really exciting for them. Got a couple online students that are here for this session. They came into town just to do these. There are times when they cannot put someone's face back together. Yeah, there are, but there's so much that can be done if you just try. Even try a little bit. See what you do have rather than what you don't have. How much restoration work have you done over your career? Not a ton, because it's just not been a scenario where I've had to do some major restorations like at this level. Definitely damage to the face, injuries, putting back together the head into some semblance of form. So some stuff over the years. I don't want to talk about some specific cases just because, families would know who I would be talking about. But yeah, this is exciting to see students and how excited they are to be doing this stuff. When is the last time you were shocked by what you saw? A couple weeks ago, somebody had hair growing out of their belly button, and that kind of was yucky. It's going to be the weird stuff, guys, that is going to not surprise me, but there's not supposed to be hair growing out of your belly button. Will restoration be done if the family requests a closed casket? No. If they do not want the casket open, because that would be their choice whether they were viewable or not, that's their choice. No tape wasn't going to do anything to help hold the head together, really. So, yeah. Also going to be announcing a new series next week, so watch for that. I just here with who's going to be my co-host, and so it's exciting. I'll introduce you guys to her right now, actually. So this is Brenda. Hi. And she's a funeral director here in Pittsburgh. And so watch for our release of our little teaser video of what our new series will be about. I'll post that next week. So, yay. Yeah, what else do you guys want to see? I'll turn the camera around so you can just see some of what the work is going on.
So we can come up with it.
What?
Can you say hi to my stepmom?
Yeah, hold on.
So my stepmom Kari loves my stepmom Karen loves Kari, and she's very excited to be here. And so when she watches this later on,
Hi, Karen. How are you?
I love you. Thank you for supporting me in everything. I really appreciate it.
It's a good stepmom right there. Can hair from another part of the body be used? Yes. That's one of the best things is we'll cut it from the back of the head and bring it to the front, or wigs. You can get hair extensions, cut that hair to use for facial hair or to fill in gaps. So you can use all sorts of tools and tricks to do that for hair restoration. Let's see, some of these are easier to. This one requires a lot of wax.
Yeah, I didn't even start the wax yet.
Oh, you're just wound filling.
Yeah, but it keeps wanting to come out, so I'm like having to push it in really hard, so it doesn't just like fall out.
So this is half of the mortuary science class. The other half, because the class is so big this time, they did a session 2 weeks ago, and then this is the second half of the class doing theirs. So huge class, and we've got only 3 men in here. All the rest are women. So that tells you the demographic of who is going to mortuary school. We are full on girl mode. So it's pretty awesome to see too. So I'll be going live again tomorrow as these heads are more into the process. And so check in tomorrow. Watch for me to go live, probably late morning, so you can see the progress and what's going on with it. Is it true that, could you use spray foam to fill in any hole? Spray foam expands. You can't control it. It's not a good thing to use. So hair does not keep growing after you die, no. So, and there was another question I missed. They go fast when I'm on my phone doing these videos, so I can answer them as fast as I can. So if you guys want to post a couple more questions, I'll answer them, and then I'll let you go for today, and we'll be back tomorrow. I've been filming everything, so there'll be a 3-part video coming for each of the parts of this that we're doing, and so those will post to Facebook in a couple weeks. Can you use putty? It's probably not going to stick well enough. There are mediums that are created just for this. There is wax that's created just for this purpose. And so that's really what you want to be using. What are the heads made of? It's like a foam. They're reusable. You can take all of this off. They wash them and reuse them. It's pretty cool. How long does it take for the hair to go away after a body dies? You know, I don't know exactly how long, like during the decomposition process, when you get down to just bone. I don't know how long for the hair. I'm going to check on that because I've been wondering that actually. Yes, so one of the heads is in youth. So kind of like maybe 9 to 15 years old-ish. I am in Pittsburgh right now. I'm at the Pittsburgh Institute of Mortuary Science right now for this 3-day restorative art lab. So I'm so excited I finally got to come. It's been a long time coming to try and get here for this weekend. They do it about once a month for students and everyone, and they're going to be opening it up to funeral directors coming in, I think in April, and FDA has a group of directors coming. So, well, thank you guys for joining, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.
Who's my guy based on?